All right, so the question is it worth buying Bitcoin now? Well, you know, at the time I'm recording is one thing, but you might be listening to this at a different time. But anyway, what I would say is you've always got to evaluate, look at the price, and it really depends on your strategy, right? So what I would say is this, right? So long-term Bitcoin, the floor price, which is kind of like the bottom price that it sometimes swings down to, and then it goes back up again. It goes up and down in the middle of a upward trending channel, and in that channel, if you look at the bottom price over the years, you're still making like 30% per year, right? So is it worth buying it now? For me, Bitcoin is like 1/10 the market cap of gold right now. And if you believe, like I do, that one day it will surpass gold, then it should do a 10x from here. So is it worth buying now if something's going to 10x? Well, of course it is. In my view, I'm not a financial advisor, but in my view, it's totally worth buying if you're holding for the long term. And I'm talking years here. And I'm talking like really about a 10-year horizon minimum. So as a real investment. Now, the timing that you buy doesn't really matter. It's kind of choppy, but it doesn't really matter if you buy it just before it crashes or just after it crashes, because in the long run, that won't make much difference. However, for someone who's not planning on holding for very long, then you probably do want to obtain a good price when you enter the market and also when you exit it. And Bitcoin so far goes in these 4-year cycles, and it's not magic that it does that. The reason it does that is because there's a certain amount of money supply, Bitcoin supply, that is created all the time, and what happens is that reduces every 4 years. There's an event called the halving where the mining difficulty goes up and the number of coins that are produced goes down. So the supply starts to tail off, and that's built into the protocol, if you like, and then eventually there's a fixed supply of all 21 million coins are mined. But there's this halving event every 4 years, and it kind of drives these cycles, okay? Because if you think about it, right, this halving event, it reduces the new supply of Bitcoin, and anytime you reduce the supply of something, it increases the price. Now, it doesn't reduce the overall supply, it just reduces the new amount coming into the market. So when the last Bitcoin is going to be mined, when the last part of that supply is going to be created, it won't have as much effect. But we're still kind of early in Bitcoin's life where this does have a ripple effect every 4 years. And some of it is also due to speculation as well. But anyway, what I'm saying is if you don't plan on holding it for that long, which I don't recommend, but if that's your tactic, your strategy, then you probably want to be careful about your entry price and your exit price. And to be honest, you might want to be careful about that anyway. I don't know. That's up to you. That's your own call. So right now, we're in the cycle. It looks like we're gonna go into possibly a big bull trend, and you don't want to be buying at the end of that normally, right? That's the time to sell. So is it worth buying now? Well, it kind of pumped last year, part of the way up already. Difficult to tell. At this moment, I think a lot of long-term holders would be like, they wouldn't personally buy any more right now. You do hear about these whales in the market that just keep buying. But they're holding it for the long term, right? Like I said, so they don't care. But if you're holding it for the short term, or you're a bit more stingy and want to get a better price, this might not be the right time to buy it. But you're probably gonna have to wait a long time for it to come back down and hit this price again and go even lower. And here's the problem: it might not even come back down this low again. No one knows what the future will look like. What can look like an expensive price to buy right now might actually be a rock bottom bargain. Nobody knows. Only time will tell. Only hindsight will be able to tell whether now is a good time to buy or not. So, in terms of that question, is it worth buying now or not? I can't really tell you. Nobody knows shit about it, to be honest. A lot of people think they do, but they don't really. But I know some people will say that it's not exactly a bargain right now, because if you compare to the price, say like a year ago, it was much less. So it's not as good as it was, and yeah. But if you're holding for the long term for 10 years, sure, I think any price is a good price right now. But that's my humble, non-expert, non-advisor opinion. You make your own mind up, do your own research, and let me know in the comments what you think as well. Well, I will add one more thing, right? And this is a personal lesson that I've learned, is that I have bought before thinking that it had a lot longer to go. This is back in the last cycle. I think I bought around 50k, and at the time everyone was screaming it's gonna go to 100, right? And I bought thinking that it was a good price, and then it hit like 69, and then the market crashed. Now it crashed slowly, which is the way crashes happen. You don't know that you're really in them, but you keep bleeding and going further and further down. Now you might think, what a huge mistake that I bought at that price. But the thing is, what I also did was, as it was going down, I just kept buying. I kept buying, and it kind of looks like insanity, right? The price is going down and you're buying. Well, hell yeah, because every time it went down, I knew I was getting an even bigger bargain compared to what I'd bought at before. I was lowering my average buy cost. So for me, it was fantastic. And there's a phrase for that. People call it slurping the dip, because when it dips, slurp it up. It's a great buying opportunity. And quite often that causes crypto to rebound when it dips. A lot of people do that. They go in, they slurp that dip. But this was the case. It was the end of a 4-year cycle, and it was crashing. So it was barely bouncing back up at all. But I didn't care. I kept slurping that dip, and then eventually, after months, it will reach a bottom, and then it will go back up, and it will surpass it. And now we're past that point. That point when I bought before and it crashed soon after, the price looked so terrible. We're now like double past that point now. So it just goes to show, doesn't really matter, is it worth buying now? Sure, if you're committed to it for the long term, and you're gonna keep DCAing in, which means making regular periodic buys like once a month or whatever. Now, if you just lump some in, and you buy at the peak, and you don't buy after that because you spent everything, yeah, it's your average price is not going to be great. So it actually makes more sense that even if you do buy in right now and you're not sure, don't put everything in. You got to always have some cash on the side. If you don't have cash on the side, you can't buy those dips. So for me, it's a better strategy to set up a periodic buy rather than lumping in, because it's very difficult to time it if you just do lump sum. It's easier for most people if they just want to take their mind off the market to just DCA in, as they call it, dollar cost average. It'll bring your average dollar cost of average purchase price lower that way. Anyway, do your own research. That's just one strategy, and that's a personal anecdote I wanted to share. So anyway, let me know what you think.